Let's talk about the time that you and Kyle wrestled outside the Denny's.
Oh, there's been many times.
There's been a
many
few
times.
wrestling matches.
Outside of many Denny's.
That's
I'm
probably
0
true.
5 at the Denny's in Illinois.
No one remembers when Kyle and I wrestled outside of a Marriott.
0 1 outside the Marriott in Illinois.
Undefeated outside of Illinois Marriott.
Good times.
That's my entire fighting record.
Yeah, we always had a great time on those trips.
It was a blast.
I want to tell the story about that involved marijuana and an Applebee's, but I'm trying to like tell it without upsetting anyone.
Let's forego that one.
Let me tell that story in a way that doesn't
weed out of an apple at an
I was
Applebee's.
a driver, maybe. Was this a paintball event?
Yeah, I'm going to tell that story in a way that doesn't incriminate anyone.
Okay.
Except for myself and White Boy, who wouldn't care. Yeah, so like I found this. We were at Paintball, and Woody and I were walking around, and I think I told Woody, I was like, I'd like to find some weed, and I was like, I don't know how to get it though. You know, I've never been here before, and we see this paintball referee, long hair, like down to his shoulders, big mustache.
That guy was awesome.
And I walk up to him like, hey man, I don't want to offend you, but you look like the kind of guy who'd know where some weed is. And he goes, hell yeah, brother. All right then. So like it wasn't long before like a 1/4 ounce of White Rhino was produced at the hotel. And so me and White Boy are in the back of the van, and Gassy Mexican is driving that thing. And me and White Boy are in the back, and I'm breaking the weed up on a copy of Modern Warfare 2. and as I break it up in little piles, White Boy's rolling up these J's like a fucking expert, just like origami back there.
Dude,
rolling these
so I wasn't in this car. I was driving. That was a van, I think. I was driving a smaller car, and like the legend of White Boys rolling made it to me. They're like, oh my God. All the windows were down. It's blowing everywhere. He's rolling. He doesn't lose a seed, like whatever you wouldn't want to lose.
You don't want to smoke seeds.
Like you wouldn't want.
He lost the seeds, but nothing else.
Look, I'm not okay. Thank you, Kyle. Yeah. He only let the seeds blow, but apparently he was like a savant at rolling these things.
He might have done it a time or two before, and so every time he rolls one up, he passes it to me, and then I light it, I spark it up, and I take a hit to get it going, and then I pass it forward. And because it's just he and I in the very back seat. There's like 4 rows of this van. I don't even know. It's one of those big ass vans.
Yeah.
Nobody can see how much I'm smoking. So I feel like I can take a couple extra hits before I pass it forward. You know, we've got plenty.
For all they know,
anyway.
he rolled 1-inch buds or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not passing forward. It's just a roach. Man, White Boy rolls them small, but okay, I'll take it's free. So I'm every time he rolls one, I'm going, and then I pass it forward. And so he's rolled like 3 or something like that. And the van's full of people, and the driver's not smoking, just to be clear. And but we're passing them forward, and I am getting rapidly way more high than I've ever been. And I hadn't eaten since like lunchtime, and it's dark. And I essentially blacked out. That's only ever happened to me one other time, but I essentially blacked out and forgot where I was. And
I remember this.
At the same time, this is fun. It's such a stupid coincidence, but at the same time, Gassy Mexican, the driver, went the wrong way. He got lost, so he had to pull into a residence so that he could like do a J turn, and like so he's literally pulling up into the driveway of a home outside of Chicago so that he can leave their driveway and head back toward where the Applebee's restaurant is. Well, I come to right about there while we're pulling up to a house in the dark, and I'm like, where are we? where are we going right now? Whose house is, where are we going? In my head, I've been kidnapped, and they are taking me to an abandoned house that I've never been before, and I don't know who all these people in this van are. But White Boy was like, no, it's cool. We're going to Applebee's, and we got a little lost. It's me and you, and look, there's Taylor up there, and Gassy's driving, and everybody else is in the car behind us. We're going to Applebee's to get some appetizers. And I'm like, all right.
Anytime.
White Boy was a good too high tour guide.
He was great. So we get out of the car at Applebee's, and we start walking toward the door, and I'm walking right next to
I remember
Taylor,
this so explicit.
and I'm taking these high steps. I'm walking like this.
Oh, this was so fucking funny. His like knees were coming near the chest. He was walking like he was going through a swamp. Like, and we're just on the sidewalk going into Applebee's as he's taking these enormously high steps. Just
Enormously high
maybe,
steps.
Maybe 8 feet coming into Applebee's. And I remember like walking next to Kyle. Like we were friends at the time, but not as tight as we are now. And we were just walking next to each other. And Kyle's walking like an absolute lunatic. And I'm like, and I just looked over at him. He looks over at me and goes, "This is the highest I've ever been." And just we continued our way in, and we got in there. And Kitty, we were all at this giant ass table on Applebee's.
Kitty.
And we're all sitting there. And Kitty, being astute, quickly realizes ordering it one by one is not an option for this table right now. It'll take forever. Like Kyle can't decide. Lots of people can't decide on what they want. And so Kitty just goes, "Just 2 of every appetizer." And the waiter's like, "What?" It's like for you or for, "No, for the table. Just 2 of every appetizer for the table." And that's what we did. And I think after that, she ordered one more round of every appetizer.
And we worked on it pretty good.
That was suctioned up like through a shop vac immediately. All of those poppers, those jalapeno poppers, all those fucking
mozzarella
skins,
sticks
all
and onion rings,
the chicken wings, the bloomin' onion or whatever their version of it is.
The waitress says, "What would you like to drink?" And I said, 2 Mountain Dews. And she says, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "I want 2 glasses of Mountain Dew." She's like, "I'll bring you a large." And I'm like, "Well, you're gonna see." Because I'm so thirsty. And she comes back and she gives me this Mountain Dew, and she hands me my Mountain Dew, and she starts distributing everyone else's drinks. And right about the time she finishes handing everybody else their Dr. Peppers and shit, I go, refill? I have just sucked the whole fucking 20-ounce Mountain Dew down instantly because I had such dry mouth from smoking all that goddamn weed. I was just I wanted 2, and so after that, she brought me fucking 2, and I was double fisting those bitches. And I don't know.
I remember being in that
You're
van
gonna
as we were
see.
driving on the way there, being like, "This is how successful YouTubers behave."
Impressionable young Taylor.
YouTubers. Yeah. I gotta
Pretty
get
much.
by and go to Applebee's.
Yeah, I won't tell the other part of the story, but someday maybe we will, because some other shit happened that was fucking
Very
hilarious.
funny.
I
Yeah.
don't even know if I know this. I was in the other car.
Who
driving.
shit themselves?
It happened at the
Oh,
restaurant,
yeah.
Woody. There was a thing that happened at the restaurant.
Was I involved?
I'll write it in the chat. But
Okay.
yeah, there was a whole thing.
But that was a very fun night. God damn. It's a shame we're not doing those trips anymore. That was
Oh.
so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah, and that other individual started crying.
I don't remember actual
I saw tears.
I remember it a little
We're not
differently.
saying his name. We can say it.
I genuinely remember,
Taylor,
but
he
I'll
cried,
tell you,
didn't
he
he,
was
Taylor?
upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't like
I
the
don't
way
get
that
it.
went down.
Oh, you have to go. Do you not have our chat open?
No, I do. I see it. I just don't get it.
Somebody else tweeted from somebody's account.
Oh,
and,
no.
It
There
wasn't
was
a tweet that he would like out there.
There was a flippity floop, and that's the way it went. So
I was
anyway,
sitting at the
fun
end
night
with
that
it was me and White Boy and Kelly, White Boy's longtime girlfriend now, and we were gone, and we were like getting it, like the information of what had happened at the other end of the table with the drama, piece by piece, and I was like, I think that they did this thing, and now that other person over there, he's crying. Look at him. And Kelly was like, he's crying like a bitch. And we're just laughing our asses off down there. We just had a real good time. That was a wonderful night. I had a really good time. That was awesome. That was a great time. We smoked all that fucking weed up before we got there. We smoked a 1/4 ounce of weed on the drive to Applebee's.
Jeez.
That was an interesting fucking night.
I remember how much I enjoyed all of the anytizers.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, it was just really fucking good.
I remember how good those boneless buffalo honey wings were, how good those potato skins were, how upset I was when it might have been White Boy, but we were both reaching for the last like jalapeno popper or something. And of that serving, I had noticed he had already had 3 or 4. It only comes with about 6. I had no jalapeno poppers from that one. And so I reached towards it and we did that kind of coy, like, oh, you take it. No, you take it. And I was like, no, seriously, white boy, you take it. And he's like, well, okay then. And he took it. And I did the no, you one too many times. So missed out on that popper. I remember in Chicago during that time at that Tilted Kilt or whatever we were at, where that went down. Like this was like 2010 or whatever it was. And so like I knew Kyle in a friendly way, but like we weren't friends yet. And I remember like watching him do that and thinking in my head, like, damn, he must be able to handle his shit. Because the amount you were drinking, and then like later in the night, like you came out looking ghost-eyed, and I was like, oh, he's actually had a horrible evening. Like
I've told that story so many times, but it was like they were playing they're having like FPS Russia night at the fucking bar, and like I managed to drink myself unconscious.
Well, because people were buying you shit the whole time.
Yeah,
like they'd come over to our table and be like, shots for everyone, and I was like, damn, I'm a nobody, this is sick. And you're like, I don't want anything, please.
No, it was always like that.
Because you spoke in a Russian accent, you'd want vodka.
So many people wanted to buy me vodka. I got to the point where I liked vodka because I was just drinking so much of it. But then
good.
If I could intercept them, if they were like, let me buy you a drink, that's perfect, because now I can get my like top shelf tequila chilled with some lime. But if they're just showing up with whatever like fake Russian vodka the place has, it's just going to be a bad fucking night. But that night in particular, it was like, I remember there was a Jaeger bomb and like a big ass dark beer, and then like at least 3 shots of vodka. Like right off the kick.
It was white boy pushing you to finish that with him.
Well,
What is he up to?
White boy is another one who
I haven't even thought about that either. What is that man up to?
Can white boy not handle his liquor?
The last time I drank with white boy was that infamous night when we did the epic mealtime thing at my house, and me and Harley are inside filming, and like, you know, he's got his whole crew and everything, and we had finally gotten like the girls to like go on the back porch to where white boy was, and there's bottles of Jack Daniels as props everywhere. And one of these dumb bitches is over there like bottle feeding him Jack Daniels. Like he's drank so much, and he's a little guy. Like he has had so much, and he's chasing the Jack Daniels with Reese's Pieces. And so the next thing I know,
sounds kind of fun.
He's like a family size bag of Reese's Pieces. He's had like half of it. So the next thing I know, I look, and I've got like a couch on my back porch. It's all screened in and everything. And it's like a normal couch. He's on that thing, like sort of like head on his own shoulder like this. And he's vomiting. And he's just like this though. He's going,
it's just chocolate vomit.
And this chunky peanut butter goo is like rolling out of him in a very uncomfortable way down his shoulder and onto my couch. And Kitty is like so allergic to peanuts that like peanut dust makes her like burn like acid. It's like literally acid. And so now white boy has become this acid vomiting drunk who you can't tell what to do.
He's a chemical warfare.
Jesus Christ, he's radioactive.
So nobody can clean him up but me. So I'm over there. I'm cleaning him up. I'm getting him good to go. I'm cleaning the couch up as best I can between fucking filming and I'm doing my job, and I'm getting the shit off of him. And I'm like, all right, God damn it, do not get him fucked up. What are you thinking? He's little. He's smaller than you. I'm this dumb bitch. And I go back to like working with Harley, and we're doing our thing again. And I look, and I can see out the doors there were double doors, and they had glass in the center of them. And I could see she was feeding him Jack Daniels again. And I was,
that bitch.
She was the worst.
Just feeding him destructive liquor as he's trying to get with it. I remember being in the main room near the concierge of that Marriott when we all went to Joliet.
Yeah.
And Kitty was the arbiter of gross videos.
Yeah.
And we all did that. And if you cringed or had any sort of reaction to it, she would call you out and you'd have to drink. I remember White Boy and Kelly being very bad at that game and having
Terrible.
to drink a lot. And I also remember thinking like, damn, this Kyle guy is just can keep drinking until you couldn't. And then I was like, and then you were just like, I'm going to bed. And I was like, what?
Like-
Just out of nowhere, I'm going.
Yeah, like what you got to keep in mind, like that part of my life, like we were constantly traveling, and so, and I had the first leg on this trip that lasted for like 8 months or something like that, bouncing around cities, was Chicago. The first time I went to Joliet and I hung out with Paul. Paul's a functional alcoholic. And so like I'm hanging out with Paul all week, me and him. There's no like other YouTubers. It's
Sure.
just so like, because there isn't a whole gang of us, he's more comfortable, I guess, like giving me a more like personalized. It's easier for him to take one person somewhere. So he's taking to me to all of his favorite bars in Chicago, and we're getting shit housed all night long for a week solid. Those Manhattan, Maker's Mark Manhattans. Like the manliest drink I could imagine at the time. I'm fucking drinking those bitches down. And the next trip was like LA or something, and it was tequila the whole time. I had a pretty serious tolerance. I could get 10 shots in and still be okay. But like 12 was like, all right, now we're done. Like there was just this fine line between, all right, I'm drunk, but I'm not sick, to like
12 is a lot of
night
shots.
ruined.
Yeah.
I was drinking a dozen shots almost every single night, like at least.
How long do you think that lasted? Where you were drinking?
Couple years.
A couple years where you had a dozen shots a night?
Not every night,
Oh.
but like 3-4 nights a week. I don't know, something like that.
Okay.
Like a lot of drinking. A lot.
How
of
much
drinking.
is it? How many shots are in a bottle of
Oh, I have no idea.
vodka, like
We're-
liquor?
I was never like pouring drinks and drinking. I was just buying them I was at a bar or a restaurant drinking.
I feel like Tucker knows. Like how
I don't know.
because
Because
you like
got,
vodka waters.
I
feel
do.
like
750 milliliters is a fifth, right? And 1.5 ounces. I don't know how many milliliters. You know what? Hey, there's somebody here with a calculator.
Isn't it 90? I think
Well,
it's 90.
no.
Excuse me.
1.5 ounces is a shot, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's 90.
I don't know how
milliliters.
many milliliters that is.
I think it's 90 or 100.
90 or 100 milliliters?
It's like 100 calories worth of vodka, right? Per shot.
What
And-
kind of dumb math? I'm just going to Google it.
I only look at calories.
Yeah,
Isn't it
16
about
shots.
100?
Yeah, a fifth has 16. So that means a handle has 32.
Okay, so
I drank a
fifth has
fifth on.
six.
I've drank a
Wait.
fifth on the show before.
Wait, a fifth is 1/2 of a handle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
750 versus one.
Not if a. No, wait. Yeah, it is. Okay.
I can grab a fifth of vodka. It is but I
How much?
drank-
How many milliliters is a handle? I thought a handle was 1,500.
No, you're right. You're
It's
right. I was
1,500.
wrong.
100% it is. It's 1.5
Yeah.
liter.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah. 1.75. Oh, you're right.
Oh.
1. All right.
Wait, it's
so
1.7. Okay, so
you get
it's
a little
like,
bonus of
it's like
10
two,
shots.
It's like 2/5 plus
And
a
a little-
third of a fifth. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Point is, it's a
third
lot of alcohol.
fifth. what an
Yeah.
annoying way to measure this.
A third of a fifth. Yeah. No. So Kyle was drinking per his claimant. He said 12 shots a night.
12 shots. So that's like
that's a fifth. That's a fifth every. That's a fifth every day.
day and a third.
That's
Day
a
and a
lot.
quarter. Yeah,
That's a lot of.
that does seem like a huge amount.
Who was the guy named? Was it Larry? Who was the guy? Woody? Do you remember? Well, actually, both of you. You remember PAX East, the hotel room tryhards, right? Who was
Yeah.
the dude that had literally had a fifth in the bedroom on that ensuite attached to it? Do you remember? Woody, you weren't staying in there, but Mirka, you were. Taylor,
Was
you were
that-
in that room.
Was
it was
that
some Irish dude or something, and he didn't even go to the convention.
Do you-
His name was
Tucker-
Larry.
Was it
Tucker-
the
Tucker, do you
Not
remember
Paul,
that I
Power
tried
Pictures.
to? Do you remember me trying to slip you the bottle of Stoli in the lobby and Kitty taking it away?
I do. I remember too because also that was like that whole trip was like a degenerate. There's a video of me throwing Starburst and like John Cena slamming you in the bedroom where we're like I'm like 17 years old. It's just oh man. Someday we gotta
there
go
are
through it
pics
all.
of that. There are videos of like I fell asleep early and everybody's like playing with my chest hair. Like,
Do you remember like we were walking through? It was actually this group plus Blade walking through like there's an ice rink, and this like lady with a stroller came up and was like trying to petition to come back to the hotel room. That has to have been like that was the first time that we all met each other and that everybody kind of like met the other personalities and stuff. But I think back on that and I'm like, wow, if I had explained verbally what was going to happen on that trip to me, to like my mom, she would have been like, "You're fucking nuts. There's no way you're going."
Dude, I remember
it was like 19.
Yeah, right? I know. I was 18.
And I'm like, I'm a solid 25 or 26.
Yeah.
And Woody is a young man of 34 or so.
Something like that.
You know, and so he and I are like, we're two of the few there who can actually buy legal alcohol. Like so when this group walks by the Cheers bar, you know, the one from the sitcom.
We went in there for one. I didn't even get to go in.
You didn't?
No, Tucker didn't make it.
You stayed that with T. Martin.
My fake ID made it in. I remember making it in with the fake ID to the Cheers bar.
We all went into
and
Cheers.
Sitting there.
It looked nothing like Cheers. Norm wasn't
On the
there.
inside.
Yeah, on the inside.
Nowhere to be seen.
Because it had that sign up there.
We took a shot, and I remember like feeling kind of helpless to the fact that we were there with these children and like not knowing what the chill thing to do was, being like, God damn it, I've never been to Boston, never been to this bar. I used to watch the show. I'd like to sit here and like get some pretzels or something.
Yeah.
But being like, supposed to ditch these youngins?
But you did. I remember you. I remember you guys saying like, all right, well, we're gonna go to a more quiet thing or something like that. Because the group was.
You went to the Joe Lauzon thing and nobody wanted to go. Me and Woody.
Yeah.
And I was like, y'all don't want to go like fuck with a professional fighter tonight? Like I didn't even know who he was, but it was like it seemed like a cool fucking trip.
I had this thing set up. Like Joe was gonna like give everyone sort of MMA lessons.
I was
and
hoping you wouldn't tell the whole sad story.
Yeah, and the way the story ends in my mind is, in the end, there was like one guy who's was like, fuck it, Woody, I'll stand next to you. We'll go. Because most people were like, the train ride is too long, the taxi, like this, it's not worth the hour and a half travel. And Kyle was like, this is what it would be like in a real fight. Everyone would leave except me, right here next to you. I was like, yeah, all right. And Kitty.
Yeah.
I literally
exactly
remember ditching out that night because I was like,
I would never do that. I took a 45-minute cab ride to like a house party in the middle of like nowhere for like a Minecraft kids party one time.
I think the way I remember it going down
Dylan.
The way I remember it going down is there was like maybe 10 or 12 of us, and it was like, hey, who would like to go do this thing? And then maybe like 4 to 6 were like, maybe.
Like on the first subway, and then like by the time we were going to the next one.
To be fair, you know, now that we think back, the way it did end up, I think they quit before they realized that a cab was involved. I think that's why we were still salty. It was like, you know, they didn't know that we were going to have to take this 2-hour cab. They said no at train. Like, the fact that there ended up being a taxi was irrelevant.
Jesus Christ! So it was that far out.
Because I remember Kyle
there,
asking me to go, and I said no.
We get there, and Joe's got all these people there to like, oh, Woody's bringing the whole crew. And it's just like me and Woody, and I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I'll just crack jokes when I hold the camera.
And he did great. Yeah, I thought he did way better than it would have otherwise. So thanks. And well, it wasn't the night I envisioned where like everyone was going to come and try this thing that was like neat to me. It was still a really neat night. I had more one-on-one time with Joe.
Yeah. And Joe drove us back. So we had to take a cab.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Joe drove us back, and I think he had a relatively new car.
I remember the one
Ultima,
time
that
I had dinner with Joe. All of you guys were there, other than Tucker, but like Joe was there, and the way he ordered was so funny to me because he was like, "I'll have the chicken breast blackened, and I will also have the full rack of ribs." And it was like you just, and he was, and like I remember him behaving in a way that was like, no, this is just the way I order. Like, you get 2 entrees because I need energy. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he needs energy. Like, I mean, like the other ways we ordered was like me and Kyle walking into that place high out of our mind. I remember walking into that Applebee's and thinking I'm so high I can barely function, and then walking next to my buddy Kyle and him being even higher than me and being like, okay, I'm gonna be okay. And then we got in there, and Kitty, like I've said this before about her. Kitty is a god.
Kitty is a guardian.
Kitty is a guardian. That's a great way to put it. She got in there and she immediately went, "We will have 2 of every appetizer." Perfect. That's what everyone needed. There was no way 1 order of skins was going to get around that table. We needed 2 orders of skins for everyone to get one, and it was tremendous. That was the night that we were sitting down, and me and T-Mart were sitting next to each other. We were very, very young at the time. I was 19, he was 18 or whatever it was, and we were like, "Hey, let's give each other our phones, and we'll tweet from each other's phone." And like I was baked out of my mind. I thought it was like really funny. And so I just tweeted from his account. I was like, I'm high out of my mind at the Logan Steakhouse, wherever the fuck we were, Applebee's. I'm high out of my mind at Applebee's. And I tweeted that. And he tweeted Twitter. And like on T. Martin's Twitter. And he had my Twitter, which was like way more accustomed to nonsense. And he said something like super friendly, like, "We're here having fun with friends, LOL." and then, like, we handed it back to each other. Like,
family, friends, and God forever.
Family, friends, and God forever. And then, like, we handed it back to each other.
T-Mart's mom follows him on.
Yeah.
T-Mart's mom followed. I remember that. I remember handing it back to him and him like there.
So that's happening at their end of the table. All right. On my end of the table, this is dawning on us a little. News travels very slowly across the stone table. Me, Kelly, and White Boy are down here in our little group, and we look up, and I think Alex, White Boy, is the one who was like, "Is T. Martin crying?" And I went, "Shit, man. What the fuck happened down there? T. Martin's fucking crying, dog." I was like, Kelly, look. T. Martin's crying. I was like, maybe there's a joke. No, those are real tears. He's crying, huh? And then I'm like, hey, why's T. Martin crying? I don't know who was next to me. I wish I could remember because they were both to my left. But like, word got down to us that Taylor had gotten a hold of T. Martin's Twitter.
He said it would be a funny idea, and I went funny with it, and then he didn't go funny with it, and then I handed him his phone back, and he saw what I tweeted from his account, and he was like, "Oh my god, my mom follows this."
Dude, he was like
chill out, man. And like I saw my account.
He was like 15 or something.
He was 17. All right, because we're the same age, but it doesn't matter. He was like the most business centric of all of us. So he was like, I'm never gonna be able to lease a home. Like you would just ruin his like homeland ownership vibe. Yeah, it was so good.
That was funny as fuck.
I'd like to get him back on the show.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to.
I think he would.
Yeah. But
I don't know. It can't hurt to ask, you know?
T-Mart, shout out to T-Mart. I'm sorry about doing that with your phone. I thought it would be funny at the time.
Should have gave me your phone.
And in retrospect, it was funny both at the time and now.
I bet right now.
I'm not sorry.
So I'm not sorry too much.
And like I'm gonna go ahead and say, like not to throw anybody under the bus or anything, because like it's just people react the way they react, and like Taylor fucked up in that moment. It was like super shitty what Taylor did.
I thought it was funny and like a silly little thing.
But it's funny that it all played out that way.
I was if I were to tweet this from my account, I wouldn't care. It wouldn't bother me. Like I thought I was being silly.
What was great is Woody let Taylor know that it was a real shitty thing that he had done.
Woody did. He did let me know, and I remember being like, I just thought I was memeing, man. Like, I thought I was being a silly jokester. That's kind of my MO.
A real rapscallion,
Taylor,
you know?
A real no good Nick.
Somehow Taylor ended up down there with Woody and Kitty. Not that they're not fun, but they're not stoned. and so like
I
now
was probably
he's got
more
two-
judgmental at the time than I am today.
fuck it. No, we were.
It doesn't matter.
Look, guys, everybody's water under the bridge. You know, we're all
Yeah.
doing
I don't
great.
give a shit what anybody
You
thinks.
guys got
That shit was
podcasts. T Martin's got lawsuits. We're all here.
Wait, he does?
No, I was making a
Settle
CS:GO Lotto
those.
joke.
Yeah.
funny.
That's
Battle
good.
those.
I don't know. I don't think what I did was nearly as bad as baiting minors into gambling.
Now he's definitely not coming off
coming
the
back now.
podcast.
Dude, I bet he would come on and talk about it. I know he would come on and talk after the
Yeah.
show.
Hey, you want to bet?
Yes. Yeah, because I'm right.
Joe,
I don't know how. I don't know how he would fall on this one. You know?
T Martin and I are friends. We don't talk all the time or anything, but I still consider him my friend.
Yeah,
And,
we're so buds. You can't friendship bait him into the podcast.
Let me finish my thought here. So after the podcast, he texted me and he was like, "Hey man, that was fun. I enjoyed this or that." And I think he wished that I brought up the CS:GO stuff. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I was thinking of it too. I wasn't sure how it would go. This is how I would have done it." And he's like, "That would be perfect." So that's why I come from this like.
Yeah,
he
he
would
didn't-
talk
Oh,
about
so
it.
you just pander to him?
Not exactly.
No, the opposite of that. No,
I would too. I like
T Martin's
Tucker.
my
I'm gonna
friend.
give
I
him
would
benefit of the
support
doubt.
him. But
Yeah, I'm in his camp. You know, like I'm just
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to. I'm stoking the flames.
I lost
Look,
$8,000 gambling on those CS:GO skins. I'll have you know, and I haven't gotten over it yet.
Never taking a dime from gamblers.
Hell no.
No, I don't give a shit either way. I hope he made a lot of money, and I think I hope he did. Who knows?
I hope that
but-
dog is still healthy.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't-
he's
the dog
gonna
I don't
need
care
it.
about.
He's gonna need that dog for the next one.
From what I can tell,
Wait, does he have another
T-Mart-
one brewing?
from what I know from his social media when I look at it, is T-Mart was very intelligent and skipped the phase where streamers moved to California and then realized it's way too expensive and
He
he went straight to Florida.
He didn't
and was
skip
like-
it. What do you mean? He lived with me for 9 months, and then he was like, "I'm driving back to Illinois.
In the
I
gamer
fucking hate it
Really?
here." Yeah, he lived.
Yeah,
He
and
moved to
Gold
the
Club
Gamer
too, right?
Shore.
He did
Yeah,
not-